This character, I think, is probably the most similar to Sylvester Stallone that he's ever played, because he is really funny and he's always making a crack, and it's always kind of at someone's expense. You know, it's that kind of humor, which I love, which is my kind of humor.
The Tulsa King is such a great show, Andrea. I feel like I don't know what I expected, but it's amazing. And, and can I say, so much funnier than I expected. I
think more than all of us expected. As we were doing it, we knew there was some humor in it, but because it's such a specific tone, I think we were all figuring it out on the fly as well, and weren't totally sure where it was going to go until we saw it.
So it wasn't like when the project came your way, it wasn't like, oh, there's like a lot of humor in this, like that was not really.
No, there was. I mean, Terrence Winter is the person who thought of me for this. And obviously I come from comedy pretty much exclusively. And so, I think he knew he wanted someone to have a little comedy in there, but there's definitely more than we thought, because I think everyone started realizing that Sly really likes comedy and is funny. And so then it kind of all started leaning into it. As the season goes along, I think it does get more dramatic.
Sure.
But just the element of being a fish out of water lends itself to humor. You kind of can't do a fish out of water and not have it be somewhat funny.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was watching it and I was like, man, there's so many elements of this that remind me of like Get Carter, or and this is maybe to the extreme, but Oscar. Like Oscar is easily one of the most underrated comedies, I feel like, of all time.
I will admit I have not seen it, and I need to watch it because it's come up now quite a few times.
It is so funny. And I guess I just didn't anticipate, is Sly that funny in person, like when you're working with him, like maybe off camera, like is he just as like sort of
this character, I think, is probably the most similar to Sylvester Stallone that he's ever played, because he is really funny and he's always making a crack, and it's always kind of at someone's expense. It's that kind of humor, which I love, which is my kind of humor. But then he's also really smart and he's a really good actor. And then you're in a scene with him and you're like, oh, that's right. God, he's really good. Whoa, there it is. There's the movie star.
Did you guys, did you film in or around Tulsa at all?
We shot the entire show in Oklahoma City. With the exception of they shot a couple days here and there in Tulsa, and then I think a day or two in New York. But no, we shot for 5-6 months in Oklahoma.
Oh. It really adds to, because I could tell, I was like, well, this is definitely like filmed in the Midwest. I'm originally from I grew up in the South, and when you watch shows and stuff like that, and that are supposed to take place in the South and the Midwest, you can usually tell if you're from there. And I was like, they shot this probably at least close to Tulsa, because the imagery is just really important,
And a lot of the sets, we shot like an exterior of an old, I don't want to bring whatever, but like a bowling alley, like an old bowling alley in the middle of Oklahoma City, and an outdoor drive-in, like and it's just, you can't fake that. And I think that's what Taylor Sheridan does so well, is he really takes these locations and they become characters and they have a mood to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one thing, you mentioned Taylor, this show does not take place in like the Yellowstone universe. We have to clarify that. I've heard a lot of people
100%.
And I'm like, no, that is not the case.
And I will say to you, I've never met Taylor Sheridan.
Okay.
So this was his idea of a concept. He wrote the initial pilot, and then, he's so busy. He was not Terrence Winter's really who ran the show. And so he has a very different vibe. And so, I think it's a meld of the two of them.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And I think you can definitely tell like the blend of those sort of opposing influence, not opposing, but different influence.
Different. They're very different people and very different styles.
I love the title too. I love the Tulsa King as the title, because like when I hear that, like I feel like I imagine like a furniture salesman, you know?
Yeah, it does sound like a local commercial.
It really does. Come on down to the Tulsa King, you know, like,
well, because there's like the Mattress King. I think we have a Mattress King in LA, so it's probably that.
That is everywhere. Maybe that's why when I hear it, like, that's what I think of. I do think of like a mattress salesman or something like that.
Like a Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah. Oh man. Let's just manifest that into the universe.
I know, right?
That would be a wonderful like cameo, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't want to obviously want to spoil anything. I can't because I don't know what happens in episode 2.
Right.
But can you tease a little bit for us what's to come with
Stacy and
Stacy
Dwight?
And you know, I know there's going to be people out there who watch this who haven't seen the first episode, and I'd really like for them to watch it. So I don't want to spoil what happens in episode 1.
Right. It's hard to talk about it without spoiling what's in episode 1.
It is a little bit. You're right.
So
she encounters.
Yeah, I encountered Dwight in a bar.
Yep.
And she's slightly drunk and propositions him, and they go home together. And then she finds out that he was a lot older than she imagined he was, and quickly excuses herself and is like, oh God, she's going through a divorce and kind of just wanted to see if she could get through it and, to prove to herself. And then you see her in her place of work, where she finds out who he actually is. And that is very much in opposition to what she does. Yes,
quite.
Yes.
I imagine hijinks ensue.
Hijinks ensue. Yes. You know what? But what really, they mirror each other. They're both transplants from New York, and they're both very lonely, and they're both aren't happy with where they are in their lives. Okay. And they're kind of, she's going through divorce, no kids, no family, no close friends, living in the middle of Oklahoma, and is just looking for intimacy and any sort of connection. And when you're at that place, you don't always make the best choices.
That's very interesting. Maybe, I don't know if juxtaposition is the right word, but those sort of opposing, warring ideas inside someone, it's very interesting to see that explored. Yeah.
And I think we all understand when our intentions are good and our follow through is not always.
Don't I know it?
Yes.
Andrea, thank you very much for taking time to chat today. I really, really appreciate it. Tulsa King is
my pleasure.
New episodes on Paramount Plus on Sundays.
Sundays.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.